Welcome everybody. Today I'm going to introduce you to OpenText Gupta SQLBase version 12.2. SQLBase is a low total cost of ownership embeddable database for Windows and Linux. The agenda. We're going to talk about the features and benefits of SQLBase 12.2, things like easy maintenance, SQL testing and data maintenance, the much enhanced SQLTalk Plus. We're going to talk about the SQL language enhancements in SQLBase 12.2. We're going to talk about cross-platform .NET Core application support in SQLBase 12.2. We're going to talk about the new server console, and I'm going to give you an extensive demo of the new features in SQLBase 12.2. With SQLBase 12.2 you get easy server maintenance, SQL testing and data maintenance. All this is in the much enhanced new SQLTalk Plus. So here's the overview of the new things in SQLTalk Plus. One place for all things SQLBase. You get a modern MDI interface with updated technology. You get server and database maintenance. You can do task scheduling. You can do database auditing to find out if there are bottlenecks in performance and things like that. You can see the server, database, users and statistics. You can see the server process activity log, so you have one place to pretty much see everything. You can do SQL testing and SQL scripting with a full-fledged color-coded SQL editor. And you have grid data editing, which allows to do data maintenance on the data you are working on. Schedule and maintain database maintenance tasks with the new SQLTalk Plus task scheduling feature. It is based on the Windows task scheduler, so fully integrated into the Windows operating system, and you don't need a SQL-based task service or task database needed to make this work. If you want to get notified when a task execution fails or has issues, you can schedule a task in the Windows task scheduler to get notified on errors. So basically you open the Windows task scheduler and create a new task, give it a name, and then you create an on-event trigger, and that trigger is defined like that. You need to find out the right log to look for, so basically the Windows notifications log, so Microsoft Windows task scheduler / operational, and the source is task scheduler. Enter the event ID 202, which means the task failed to start, and then save this. And then you can define the actions in the task scheduler application, and as an action you can start a program. In my case here I just start SQLTalk.exe just to show you that this works. So you could start a team developer program that then sends you an email, for example, or sends you a Windows notification and things like that. SQLTalk Plus database auditing lets you find issues that you have with database commands. It's not uncommon that complex applications at the end, when deployed to the user base, users discover that certain applications or certain queries are very long running and take minutes to execute. Then you can use database auditing to drill down into the issues, find the statements that create the problem, and then create the necessary indexes to avoid these problems or to fix these issues. Plus can also show you server, database and user statistics. So here are the server informations. You can see a list of connections and you get the statistics for the database and in a nice property grid. So here are the connections to the server, and you can go in there and close connections if you like, for example. The database information, so you see the connections to a database, the users to a database, the statistics for that database, and the processes that are active on that database. And each of those can be cancelled from the grid window doing a right click on the line that you want to cancel. You can easily switch between the windows because they are all part of the SQLTalk Plus MDI frame. And the statistics are being displayed in a new properties grid window. You can now see the server process activity log right from within SQLTalk Plus, so you don't need to open the server console anymore to observe what is going on the server. You see that in the middle screen here, where you see all the things that are being executed at the server. You can set the level. You can see that in the ribbon menu here, which level is selected. And that is quite handy to troubleshoot database issues. Give you a demo of the new SQLBase 12.2 SQLTalk Plus. Talk Plus, you have the server and database tree on the left side. Here you can type the SQL commands and you see it's a color-coded editor. And here's the output window. You see that I've executed a command, set server server1, and in the output you see that that command has been executed. Now let me go to the server, do a right click, and when I choose the information menu, I can see the connections, for example, and you see all the connections to that server. So there's a server 1 connection, and I do have that connection. You can do a right click and abort that process if you like. Likewise, you can go onto a database and do this information, and you can see the cursors for a database. You see there's one cursor that I am doing, that I have opened. You can see the statistics for that database, and you see there's one active transaction, no logs, and other statistics about the database. And other things are the processes. So here is one process and the status is wait for request message, so it's basically doing nothing yet. And I forgot to show you one thing at the server level, which is the server statistics, and you see those are being displayed in that property window as well. How to do schedule tasks on the server. You do a right mouse click and go to schedule tasks. Then you see the defined scheduled task in that MDI child. You double click on this one and the scheduled task editor opens. This is now loaded from the Windows task scheduling system. So there's one task defined for server 1. You can edit the schedule and you can edit the actions. In this case, I just have a check database defined. And if you look at this here, edit schedule, then I've defined this should run at 17:10 every day. And you see there are a lot more properties that you can define than you used to be able with the SQL-based task scheduling that was available previously. It's not 17:10 right now. I'm going to run the task from the Windows task scheduler. And in the task scheduler tree, you see Gupta SQLBase and then the server name. And you see the task that I have scheduled from SQLTalk Plus. I can go in there and run that task. I do also have a task that fires off when the task doesn't successfully run. And you can see that that fired off now because SQLBase task scheduler error has come up with the SQLTalk to Windows window. That's just my way of showing you that something didn't work and the task scheduler has notified you. It doesn't actually work because on my OpenText computer I'm not allowed to schedule tasks, so that's a computer setting that doesn't allow me to execute my own scheduled task. This area of new features in SQLBase 12.2 are the language enhancements and new functions. So there's a new Ifbool function that returns a value based on the evaluation of a Boolean expression. So you have this here, Ifbool, then the Boolean expression, then a true value and a false value. Nice to display or to include values in a selection that are based on a Boolean expression. There's a new function to tell if a string is numeric, so is numeric and the string returns 0 if it's not a number, returns 1 if a string is a number value. Substring and mid for long data type. So substring and mid functions now work with long varchar and long nvarchar, so long Unicode var characters. And the limit and offset has been fully implemented in SQLBase now. You can now do something like select star from company limit 5, 5. So you would select 5 rows starting from position 5 in the result set of that query. Okay, let's do a demo about the new SQL features in SQLBase 12.2. Ifbool function. Let me connect to the database here. Connected, and if I execute a select statement using Ifbool, then you see the results in the grid window here, and you see the Ifbool function evaluates my expression and returns the values here. And you can do that for all the different queries that I have prepared here. And you see it's a quite simple function that is very helpful to display values based on a Boolean condition. To try and show is the isNumeric function. Basically, it takes as an input a string value. I have a table that contains many string values that either are numeric values or are not numeric values, and you will see that in the results. Let's execute the first one here, and you see the first ones you see here on the left side. You see the string value on the right side. If it is numeric, and if it's a 0, then it's not numeric, and you might wonder why those are not numeric. This is because they have a trailing blank. So if you have a trailing blank, then they show as not numeric. If I add a trim function to this trim to trim out the leading and trailing blanks, then all the values in that table should be of numeric. So if you now look at the results, all of these string contents are numeric values. If I strip the trailing and leading blanks. Now, if I mix the new Ifbool and isNumeric function to display if a value is numeric, I will display this is a numeric value, and if not a numeric value, then you see both of these new functions working together, and you see here string contents are a numeric value or are not a numeric value, as you can see here. At substring and mid for long varchar and long Unicode varchar. So you basically I have two tables that have both a long column, a long non-Unicode and a long Unicode column, and you see the content here below here. This is the content of the first table, and that doesn't look much different if you choose Unicode, because I don't have any Unicode characters in here. So I can use select substring from a long string now, and you see it just selects that substring for me. The same with the mid function, and with the substring using Unicode long, and a substring mid using Unicode long. Now the last one here is a combined query that includes substring, and depending on what value the long is returned from the substring function, either true or false is being returned. So if the substring element returns Gupta Team Developer, then it will display true, otherwise false. And then also an Ifbool on the isNumeric of the key value, which is the key of that column of that table, and it will show if it's a numeric number or not a numeric value. And you can see the key always is of course a numeric value, and if the string contains or equals Gupta Team Developer, then Ifbool is true, otherwise it is false. Base 12.2 includes a new .NET standard data provider. Let's see what that means for you. A .NET standard driver works with all .NET implementations, like the standard .NET framework as we know it from many years, or the new open source .NET Core framework. So you can basically use the new .NET standard driver to create .NET Core applications that access SQLBase on Windows and Linux. And these .NET Core applications do run on Linux, Mac OS and Windows. They're probably mostly ASP.NET Core web applications, so web applications that are hosted on Windows, Linux or Mac app. Now let me show you a demonstration of SQLBase running with .NET Core, so basically an ASP.NET application. Let me switch to my Linux workstation here. Let me open a terminal. Code environment, which is the open source Microsoft .NET IDE running on Linux, and this is now opening. So basically this is a model view controller application, and you can see here in the application tree that we are in the controller section. The controller section contains the data access code, and you see that we have Gupta SQLBase.data included here, and you see below that we are accessing a teacher database. We're creating a SQLBase connection, and we create a SQLBase data reader, and we read the data, and you can see the select statement that is being passed in here, and we have a method for every create, read, update, and delete. So here you see the insert code. Below is the select a specific teacher where ID equals, and so on. Then you have sections for the views where the HTML pages are defined, the ASP pages that actually show the data. So this is ASP.NET HTML code here that is linked to the controller, and here model teacher.cs. This is basically the definition of the table that I'm using that is being stored in my SQL database. And appsettings.json, I wanted to show you, that contains the SQL-based connection string, basically connecting to my Windows SQL-based that is running on my laptop here. And now in Visual Studio, I can start this application much like in TD Mobile or Team Developer, and then the application will be compiled and executed, and I can test the .NET Core application that is running on Linux. So now it's compiling the .NET, it's launching the ASP.NET runtime environment, including a web browser, and will then open a browser. Now it's loading the application into the browser, and you see that the data from my Windows laptop is being displayed in my Linux virtual machine. So the read multiple lines has worked. I can now go into any of these here. For example, for mirroring catch expression, I want to give a salary raise. Go onto the update page, and it will load the update page, and I can go in here and give her now 28,000 as her salary, submit that, and that will be saved into the database. You can also create a new teacher here, John open source. Skills are ASP.NET model view controller. You can have a total students of 25, and his salary will be 29,000 initially. Submit this, and it will be saved in the database, and now it reads the new name here as well. And you can of course also delete things from the database, and that works as well. So you see, you can fully use SQLBase using ASP.NET Core open source .NET applications with SQLBase 12.2. The server console is the last thing that I'm going to show you today about SQLBase 12.2. There's a modern, easy-to-use tab-based interface. You can quickly switch between the tabs to see what you're looking for. You can dock windows anywhere, and you can also free-float the windows. So there's a new user interface. You see that you have the tabs here at the bottom. You just click on one of the tabs and see what you need to see. So change views easily. You can dock the views to each other, and many more options. So a nice new user interface feature that allows you to arrange the server screen in a way that you can maximize the data that you can see and make sense from. SQLBase 12, the low TCO embeddable SQL database. If you haven't upgraded to the SQLBase 12 level yet, let me show you the benefits that you get when you upgrade to version 12. So multi-threading performance was introduced with 12.0. More scalability through multi-threadings. So more users, higher performance. That is a very important release if you don't have version 12 yet. With 12.1 you did get automatic database upgrades, so older databases will be automatically converted to SQLBase 12.1. Many SQL additions, the SQLTalk Plus database tool, and more maintenance automation. And with SQLBase 12.2 you saw a lot today: SQLTalk Plus enhancements, SQL language enhancements, and the new .NET Core database driver. So upgrading to SQLBase version 12 makes big sense. I'd like to thank you for watching today's SQLBase 12.2 presentation. Follow us on the social networks like Twitter and LinkedIn, and of course on our YouTube channel. And if you want more information, just go to opentext.com/Gupta. Thanks much again and see you soon.